I have my birthday here. My birth date. Like, so unnecessary. Delete, delete, delete. You only need to add things to your resume that are valuable and relevant. Delete. Hello. Hey hoteliers, and welcome back to another video talking about your resume. Hi, my name is Maria and I am your savvy hotelier, and I make content for hospitality management students and graduates, helping you succeed in your careers. Today I'm going to look at my old resume from many years ago when I was a student myself and try to fix it. I say try because from what I remember it was pretty bad. I'm very excited. I have found a couple of files from when I was starting out in university. So it was when I didn't have much experience. I had a bit of summer jobs and I had a bit of internships, but I didn't have much. So it's a perfect opportunity for me to try to fix it, to make it look much better and much more employable with the tools that I have created for you in my resume toolkit. If you haven't yet registered for the resume toolkit, the link is below. Make sure you register to get the tools that you need to customize your resume to make it the most attractive it has ever been and get invited to interviews. Hit subscribe if you want to know more about hospitality industry careers, how to get experience, and how to create a career path that works for you. Give this video a thumbs up. Thanks so much for your support, and let's get into looking at my old resume and trying to fix it. Are you ready for my reaction? So many things wrong with it right now. There's a picture, it's titled Curricular Retire, it has my full birth date on it, it has my street address, like my flat number.
Which is completely unnecessary.
So that's pretty basic. This is pure outline of what I have done. It doesn't explain what are my capabilities, it doesn't show many of my skills, it just purely shows my language skills. So there's room for improvement and I can really talk about what I have achieved and what I could be doing. Let's fix this resume. Delete, delete, delete. Delete, delete. And booyah, we're almost at one page. We didn't need that 1.5 page that we had originally. Copy this information, paste it into the template. So something happened to my footage of me actually editing my resume and talking to you about it as I do it. So I am gonna summarize it for you. Over here we have the resume that I used to have, which doesn't look so great. A little bit too spaced out. There's a couple of things that really should need to be there. And over here we have the resume that I've created, updating it using the tools and guidelines from the resume toolkit. Which one do you prefer? Which one makes it look cleaner and nicer? I personally prefer the second one, obviously, but not just because it looks cleaner and tidier, but for a number of other reasons. Let me summarize for you what I did to update my resume to make it look more professional. Remove unnecessary information. Delete, delete, delete. I removed my picture, I removed personal details, I removed my full address, I removed the references. Completely unnecessary information, too much information that does not belong on a resume. References, let's be fair, at the time were something that was requested but wasn't really necessary. I don't think any jobs I applied actually called my references. So having a half a second page for the purposes of references was unnecessary. They will ask for references if they need them. Removing the picture. That is not necessary for hospitality jobs. With a picture, there's always a caveat. You need to understand if your country or the country you're applying for work in requires pictures on a resume. If in doubt, exclude it. You don't want to add more bias to your resume review. What's left of my old resume is just core information. Having that list of things that you've done and where you worked is a good place to start. I pasted the information into the template that I have created for the resume toolkit, which is very simple and straightforward. But there were a couple of things missing on my resume. There was no summary statement, no qualification category and skill category. Having that curriculum, that is a good place to start, but is not enough. That doesn't tell your potential future employer what you can do for them based on what you've done before. Your potential future employer, you need to know that you're capable. The fact that I was hired from an unpaid internship does not show on my old resume unless you look for it, unless you read each line and you understand, oh, she actually interned here, and then after some time she actually worked there. Don't expect the recruiter or the hiring manager to read into this kind of information. Tell them what they need to know, that you had a fantastic internship, you were a great trainee, and you were offered paid work afterwards. That's a great selling point for you, and it makes it easy for them because someone already thinks you're valuable, so you must be valuable. To the most important bit, your work experience impact statements. The work experience that I had listed was fine. That's all it was. It wasn't great. It wasn't telling the potential future employer that I have done things, I've had responsibilities, that I am valuable to them. I did two things with my work experience here. I added impact statements to all of my work experience to show that I have learned, I have developed, and I have gained responsibilities. The second thing I did was showing on my resume that I was employed after being a trainee. Instead of listing it 100% chronologically, I've actually combined the two into one and showed that I was a trainee and then I was employed by the same place I was a trainee at because I did the job well. I think white space is really, really important in laying out your resume, making sure it's readable and skimmable, and people who view it quickly can understand where you've been and what you've done. However, it had way too much white space. Just too much space. It's like there's something missing on it. The new template I've put it in still has enough white space. It's still very clear and structured. However, it has all the information that it needs to have as well. Another thing that's really important as well in your layout, the headings, that they are structured and consistent throughout the document, meaning that you have a distinction between a heading and a highlighted text. So for example, a heading could be all caps and the name of your employer or your job could be just bold. And that way you can tell the difference between the two. However, if both your heading and your job title are bold sentence case, it's not as easy to differentiate between the two, and it's not as readable and skimmable. So it's just an example of ways of making it easier for them to read your resume and understand what you are about and what experience you have and what you can bring them. Let's talk a little bit about the education part of the resume. At the time of making that resume in 2013, I had graduated high school, I had my first year of university in Sweden, and I had my first year of university in Finland. I started my studies in Sweden, but I didn't finish them there. I then completely switched around, moved to Finland, and started from scratch there. I choose not to display my Swedish university on this resume as a bullet point because I don't think it's necessarily relevant. You only need to add things to your resume that are valuable and relevant. Exclude your high school from the resume if you have enough experience or if you feel like it's not valuable to you, because if you had shit grades but now you've completely changed your life around, you got into the degree program that you wanted to study and you're gaining experience, don't add your high school grades or experience here. When it comes to skills and languages part of the resume, sometimes you can put those together into skills, sometimes you can split them out. I personally prefer to split them out. If you don't speak a lot of languages, you don't need to have a specific category for them, just add them into the skills section. I've added Photoshop into my skills section because why not? Because I have the skill and I want to show them that I'm more than just a waitress, so to say. I have other skills, and in many cases you could use that skill for that business, whether that's a restaurant, hotel or whatever, to do something for them. So if they needed a little bit of menu design, if they need to edit a file or something like that, you can always help them do that. Then we have certifications. Certifications are important if they are required to do the job. So for example, in my case, this Elvira certificate is a food hygiene certificate, is required to work in restaurant or hotel in any capacity in Finland. It's a simple test that asks you basic hygiene questions, and you need to understand essentially that you can't cut your vegetables on the same cutting board that you've just cut your fish on. Basics. In my education here, I've also included a bullet point to show my extracurricular activities. Looking at my original resume, I had a lot more bullet points on my extracurricular and volunteer activities, which I decided to completely remove because they were not relevant. I chose not to have a specific headline for that because there was only so much that I could include in my extracurricular activities for this university, and I wanted to exclude the others. This resume is only one page, it has all the information it needs to have, and it is simple. So that's what I did with my resume to make it look more professional, to make it more impactful and more relevant to potential future opportunities, making sure that I am not just another person in a pile of applications, but actually someone that is valuable to that company. Get a copy of this resume template in the link below. Make sure you hit subscribe and like so you keep updated on my weekly videos. I post once a week on hospitality industry career tips and advice for hospitality students and graduates. Next video, I'm launching a new series of hospitality industry careers. I'm going to break down the whole of the hospitality industry, what kind of careers you can have in each sector of the industry, definitely telling you things you didn't know existed, so you can build yourself a more bigger picture of the hospitality industry for your own career in the future. Thanks so much. My name is Maria. I am your savvy hotelier, and I'll see you next week.